These are a few of my favorite things. Favorite comic book finds, that is, from 2020. Check it out. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris, and this is North Garden Comics. Normally, I'm a very forward-looking person, and in a lot of ways that serves me well and it serves me just fine, but as a comic book collector, there can be a danger in that because one of the things I tend to do is look forward to the next convention, the next sale, the next show, the next time I'm going to get out and do some dollar bin diving. And if you don't stop and take stock of what you've accomplished or what you've achieved or what you've collected, you can miss out on a lot and you're always chasing that next thing. So I wanted to take this video today to stop and reflect back on the year 2020 and see what some of my favorite finds were of the year, because I got a lot of comic books this year despite a lot of shutdowns and conventions and things that didn't happen, and I wanted to highlight some of my favorites of those things that I brought home. Also, the end of the year is a great time, generally speaking, to take stock. And I'd say at the end of 2020, especially in a year when there was so much loss and emptiness and sadness, good to stop and take stock of those positive things, even if they're little things like comic books, things that brought us joy and were more uplifting than the general tenor of the year. So in just a minute, we're going to turn the camera around and I'll give you a close-up look at these books. But first, let me say, if you like this kind of content, please take just a second, hit that subscribe button. And as you watch, if you see something you like, give it a thumbs up. And of course, leave me your comments, questions, and thoughts below. That being said, let's swing this camera around and I'll show you a few of my favorite things from 2020.
As we get going here, I'll say that I'm not showing you these books in any particular order, and they're definitely not ranked. One thing I am terrible at is ranking books and trying to determine my favorite that way. This is just the group of books that represent my favorite pickups from the whole year. And so, starting out, we've got this all-new X-Men, number 17. This one does happen to be the very first book of this grouping that I got this year. I bought this in, I think it was around March, paid $1 for it. This is a variant cover done by Stuart Immonen, part of the Battle of the Atom story. I really enjoyed this all-new X-Men run written by Brian Michael Bendis, and Stuart Immonen's art is fantastic. This title and this story of bringing the original 5 teenage X-Men from the past into the present is actually what got me back into the X-Men after, I would say, several year hiatus. But great story, and this cover I had been looking for a long time. Got the regular cover when it came out, and then at some point, maybe it was in my CLZ app or something, I saw this variant and just thought it looked really cool, and I've kept my eyes out for it for a very long time, and this was an example of patience really paying off. I think I saw it one time on like Midtown Comics website for like $5, and I didn't buy it then, but then I found it at this comic show just before everything shut down in early March for $1. So that was a great way to start the year off with fun finds. Up next, I've got a Fantastic Four book. I'm not working on collecting the entire Fantastic Four run or volume 1. I am trying to get the John Byrne issues, but this was a case where it was only $1 and it's such a low number, 87, that I was not going to pass that up. It's got creases on it. You can see here it's not in the best condition at all. This is just a super excellent opportunity to get a low numbered Fantastic Four. It's even somebody put a date stamp on there at some point, but just a great find for $1 to get a Silver Age book like that. Then we've got, this is Lady Mechanica number 0. I had only ever read Lady Mechanica stories through the various reprintings of this issue in Free Comic Book Day printings of this story, and had thought it would be a fun minor key to look for to get the actual first printing of Lady Mechanica's first appearance. It's a steampunk setting, and she's part human, part cybernetic, and just seemed like a cool character. I think she's like a private investigator, but had been keeping my eyes out, had never seen this in the wild for any price, and then stumbled across it in a 25-cent sale in September of this year, and that was a fantastic pickup for a quarter. Then we've got one of my favorite titles of all time, or favorite teams of all time, is the Uncanny X-Men. This is part of the Byrne run and Claremont time, so it's significant in that sense, and Cyclops leaving the team here. But the big significance for me is, and this is subjective, I look at really any book that predates Days of Future Past to be harder to find, for cheap. I paid $1 for this. So the reason being twofold. One, if you go just prior to, or including Days of Future Past and earlier, you got the Claremont Byrne run, which is super popular, Dark Phoenix Saga, things like that. So those are spendy. But then earlier than that, you're really getting to the low numbers. And of course, those are going to be pricey. So always fun when I can find something pre-Days of Future Past for a low price like $1. Next, we have a book from one of my favorite solo characters of all time, and that's Daredevil. This is from Volume 1. This is number 137. It's not a key that I'm aware of for any reason there, but it was only $1, and I got it, A, because it's Daredevil, and this now represents the lowest numbered Daredevil comic I own to date. This next book is significant because it allowed me to complete a volume, which is always a nice collecting milestone if you're trying to put a whole volume together. This was titled New X-Men at the time, but it was part of X-Men Volume 2 that started with the Jim Lee run on X-Men in 1991. Now we fast forward to when Grant Morrison is writing, and this was the first appearance of Phantom X. Again, it's a mid-grade copy. It's got a lot of spine ticks. It's a little beat up, and it's got a sticker on it down there. It's a pretty cool sticker, though. Somebody made a Phantom X sticker and stuck it down there on the bottom. The good thing for me is that I only paid 25 cents for this, so I wasn't going to leave it behind. That, of course, would kill any resale value, but 25 cents, not going to pass that up. It's a key, and it was the last issue I needed to complete that entire volume. The next couple things I'm going to show you are actually going to be starting to get some groups of books. These next two books are from a franchise I liked as a kid through cartoon and video game, but never really had the comics, and only now am I starting to get some of the comics. This is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. IDW has been doing this now for, it's got to be going on like a decade they've been doing the Turtles. But these are two keys from the current ongoing title. Issue number 51, this is the first appearance of a character called Jenica, and she's a human in this issue. I paid $2 for this, and don't worry, that sticker is on the bag, not on the comic. And then issue 95 I just recently got for $1, and this is the issue where she turns into a turtle and becomes the fifth Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. So two keys connected to her character, and got her for a great price. This next chunk of books I'm going to show you is easily the most valuable set that I came away with. This is, and I got the entire volume, this is Young Avengers, Volume 1 from I think 2005. This book alone right now is really hot because of all the first appearances, and you had Hulkling connected to the Empire story, but then you had Kate Bishop, who is now the new Hawkeye, and we've got the Disney Plus series, things like that. So I was very psyched to find this. Not only that, I found the entire 12-issue run, and you'll never believe what I paid, and they're all in fantastic condition. Issue 1 had a couple spine ticks on it, nothing major. In issue 6, I think this is the first time they refer to Kate Bishop as Hawkeye, I think. But they got the entire 12-issue run, plus the one-shot special. They were all there together, and I got these all for $0.25 a piece. So $3.25 scored me this entire volume and the special. And so from a value perspective, this has to be the biggest deal. I got the biggest bang for my buck on that one. The next run of books here comes from a different title. This first issue, this is a Bronze Age title I've been working on slowly over time. Savage She-Hulk. Issue 3 was actually given to me as a gift. One of my wife's friends, my wife Nicole, she's Nicole Northgarden on YouTube, but she has a friend Clay who's also a YouTuber and a reseller and a thrifter, things like that, and he came across this, of all places, at a Goodwill outlet bins. So it's been beat up, it's got spine ticks and things like that, but he found that, and it was probably, you know, pennies that he paid for it, because the way you buy things at the Goodwill outlets is by weight. So that would be super, super cheap, but he gave that to me as a gift, and yeah, just great to have that addition to the collection, newsstand copy as well. And then separately, later in the year at a dollar sale, I came across a significant run of Savage She-Hulk to build out my run further, and so I found issues 7 and 8, and these were all $1 a piece. 9 and 10, 11, 12, 13, and then we jump up to 17, then 23, and 24. So there's still a handful of issues I need in this volume. I had 2 through 6 prior to this stack here, but now still just a handful of issues that I need to complete that entire run. But happy to get one of those for free and the others for $1 a piece. Next book I also got because it's connected to She-Hulk. This is Marvel Comics number 1000. I have either the main cover of this or one of the variants that I pre-ordered through DCBS, and it's a $9.99 cover price, and I think I paid like $4.99 or something like that when I pre-ordered it. This was a variant cover that, had I known it existed when I was doing my pre-order, I would have gotten this copy, but I didn't know. This is Tedesco is the artist on this variant cover, and they did one for every decade of the 80 years of Marvel's existence, and this was the cover for the 80s. I didn't see this cover, didn't know this was an option, so I didn't get it, and so I had put it on my wish list. I really didn't think I'd find it anytime soon, at least, and not for cheap with that $9.99 cover price. But again, patience so many times does pay off. There's a local store here in the Twin Cities called Dreamers Vault and Games, and they were doing a 10 for 10 sale on back issues, so 10 back issues for $10, and this was one of the ones they had. They had one copy of it, and I, of course, grabbed it, and happy to get that for $1. All right, I've got one more book to show you, and I'm going to stand corrected because I did save this one for last, and even though I normally have a very difficult time choosing favorites, I got to admit, this is my favorite of my favorites. So this is my favorite acquisition of the year, and I just recently picked this up. This is Transformers number 77. This is from the first volume of Transformers when it was done by Marvel Comics. And this, I would say, is my favorite because this represents, and I've said this numerous times on my videos, this represents the title that got me into comic books to begin with. I've always loved Transformers, and they will always have a special place in my heart. Loved the cartoons as a kid, loved the action figures, and like I said, this is the title that got me into comic books. And I have almost the entire 80-issue run now, most of which I got when I was a kid, when they first came out, but there's been a handful of holes as an adult that I've been trying to fill in. This was one of those holes, and now with this acquisition, I only have one issue left, number 74, and with that, I'll have completed the entire first 80-issue volume. But this was a great acquisition, and I picked this up for $8 this year, and it's in very good condition. These are more valuable at the end of the run because they were lower print runs, but very happy to find that one for less than $10.
All right, that's going to do it for me, and that's going to wrap up this look back at my favorite comic finds from 2020. If you haven't done so already, please take just a minute, hit that subscribe button. And did you see something you liked? Give it a thumbs up. And now I'll ask you, did you have a favorite story you read this year, or a favorite comic acquisition? Or did you accomplish some collecting goal? If so, let me know in the comments down below. I want to wish you and your families a very safe and happy new year. And now, if you're not quite ready to quit, I've got a playlist here you can check out where you can see some of the other great books that I picked up in different hauls through my various comic book adventures from 2020. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.